Okay, so there is something happening right now, like right this second. And I need you to really sit with this because I'm about to describe something that's probably already playing out in your life. And the moment I say it out loud, you're going to feel this shift in your whole body. There is this collective silence, like this actual quiet falling over a group of people, the ones who thought they had you completely figured out, the ones who looked at you, sized you up, and in like 5 seconds, and decided exactly who you were and what you were capable of. They measured you based on what they could see on the surface, your gentleness, your kindness, the way you listen more than you talk, the way you are careful with people's feelings. And they made this calculation in their heads. They thought, okay, this person will not fight back. This person is too soft to even actually stand up. This person is too broken, too damaged, maybe, too afraid to ever claim any real power. They genuinely believed that. And because they believed it, they got comfortable. They thought you were safe to underestimate. Were safe to underestimate. And then something massive just happened. Something shifted. And right now, in this very moment, they are in absolute total shock because they completely miscalculated who you actually are. And the wild part, they still don't fully understand what happened. They can feel that something changed, but they don't know how. They don't understand. Yeah, they don't understand the mechanics of it. They don't get that they made a fatal mistake when they confused your quiet with weakness. I need you to feel something real deeply right now. And I'm about to tell you it isn't just about winning some social battle or dealing with drama. This is so much bigger than that. This is about something that goes to the core of who you are. This is about a group of people who fundamentally misunderstood your power and how that misunderstanding just collapsed under the weight of your actual presence. It's about how your silence became the most devastating thing they ever encountered. It's about how your refusal to fight back actually dismantled everything they built. And here is the thing that most people never understand. Your authenticity wasn't a weakness. It was a diamond in their darkness. This message isn't for everyone. You know, if it's for you, you will know it. If it's for you, the moment I start speaking, because something's going to click. You're going to feel it in your chest. You're going to feel it like, oh my God, that's exactly what I've been feeling, sensing. That's exactly the energy shift I've been sensing. Here is the thing that nobody really wants to talk about. They thought you were harmless. They looked at you and they genuinely believed that you were gentle, that you were kind, that they actually believed that. And because they believed it, they got comfortable, they got careless. They started gathering people around them. They thought to themselves, we can take We can take this person down. We outnumber them. We have more voices. We have more influence. It's going to be easy. It's going to be a piece of cake. But what they didn't factor in, and this is where it gets really, really wild, is that you were never actually alone. Never. I need you to listen to me carefully. You were never alone, not at once, not for a single moment. They just couldn't see who was actually standing behind you. See, you have something operating in your life on a completely different frequency. You have this internal alignment with yourself. You have this unshakable sense of what's true and what's not true. You have intuition that runs so deep that you can feel when something is wrong before you can even explain why. You know exactly what to do in moments of crisis, because somewhere inside you, you trust yourself. You trust your judgment. You trust your instincts. There's something I want you to understand about yourself right now. You are what I call a silent giant. This is the archetype of the underestimated hero. They looked at you and they saw softness, gentleness, kindness. They thought they saw harmlessness. But what they actually couldn't see was the immense strength underneath. What they couldn't perceive was that your perceived weakness was actually a shield. It was a protection. It was covering up the kind of power that operates on a frequency they simply don't understand. And the moment you stopped hiding that power, the moment you let it show up in how you move through the world, everything changed for them. Everything. They were not prepared for a diamond. They were ready for softness. They were prepared to crush someone gentle, but they were not ready for someone who is both gentle and unbreakable. And every single decision you made when things got hard, you knew what to do. That knowing came from your own wisdom, from you being aware while they were sleeping. There is a protection operating in your life. Call it what you want. Call it universe. Call it life. Call it the laws of cause and effect. Call it your own wisdom and awareness. But there is something that has been standing with you, something that's been clearing the path, something that's been making sure that the people who sought to harm you ended up harming themselves instead. It's not magic. It's not mystical. It's simply cause and effect. You chose truth. You chose authenticity. They chose lies. Truth always wins. Always. What actually happened is incredible when you think about it. While they were busy whispering and plotting, trying to damage your reputation, you were doing something completely different. You were with your truth. You were evolving. You were moving forward in your own life. And the wild part, you did it under the radar. They had no idea you were systematically changing the dynamic of everything. You did it in a way where nobody suspected you had the capacity to do it. You didn't announce it. You didn't fight back aggressively. You didn't make big, dramatic statements. You just kept being you. You kept making choices that were aligned with who you actually are. For a long time, you didn't even fully realize that there was a whole group organizing against you. Can we pause on that for a second? You were not even fully conscious of what was happening, and they were actively trying to undermine you. But the things you were saying, your authentic words, started creating cracks in the united front. They thought someone must be feeding you information because the level of awareness you had seemed impossible to them. This is where it gets really interesting. The group dynamic was actually built on lie. Your authenticity, your refusal to shrink, that was like shining a light on everything they were trying to hide. To begin with, they never really loved one another, but you know what they did have in common. They all saw you as a common enemy. You represented something they couldn't control, something that made them uncomfortable. So they sought to destroy that. And here is something crucial you need to understand. Your presence in their space was exactly like a diamond in a dark room. Picture this. There is a group of people sitting in complete darkness, comfortable in the shadows of their own secrets, their own negativity, their own dishonesty. They are used to the dark. They have made peace with it. And then someone walks in. But this person isn't holding a torch. They are not shouting. They are not announcing anything. They just walk in being authentically, unapologetically themselves. They are the diamond. And even in total darkness, a diamond doesn't need to try to shine. It doesn't have to work at all. It simply catches the tiniest sliver of truth and reflects it back with blinding clarity. Suddenly, everyone in the dark room can see, and they are not angry at the diamond because it's sharp or dangerous. They are in absolute shock because its very existence made it impossible for them to keep hiding in the dark anymore. You didn't break them. You didn't attack them. Your clarity simply made their cracks visible. Your light forced them to see what they'd been denying about themselves the entire time. That's the power of radical authenticity. That's the thing nobody talks about. When you stay true to yourself, when you refuse to dim your light so that others can feel comfortable in their darkness, you become the most destructive force in the toxic environment. Not because you are fighting, not because you are being aggressive, but because you are existing as your fullest self. And that fullest self cannot coexist with lies, cannot operate alongside dishonesty. It just can't. That's it, period. So the system that was built on those lies has to collapse. Every trap they set for you just backfire. They started turning on each other. They shared focus on you, turned into resentment toward one another. Now they are scrambling to find explanation for why their influence is disappearing. The shock they are feeling comes from the fact that you are still standing. You are not broken. You are stronger than before. They thought if they could just attack you enough, organize enough people against you, that eventually you would crumble. But you didn't. You did the opposite. Your silence was the most powerful thing you ever did. You didn't have to destroy them or fight back aggressively. Your refusal to dim your light for their comfort was the most devastating weapon. Chills. You leveled up so completely that they couldn't even reach you anymore. And when you can't control someone, that's when panic sets in. You're going to start noticing something. Some of them are going to try to reach out to you now. They're going to act like nothing happened. They're going to come around with fake energy, trying to get back in your good graces. And I need you to understand something very clearly. I think you know that. They are not coming back because they suddenly love you. They are coming back because they felt your power. They felt the shift when you stopped asking for permission to be yourself. They realized you don't need them. And they are terrified. When you stop playing small, when you stop apologizing for taking up space, when you actually stand in who you are without wavering, something shifts in other people's perception of you. It's like you become untouchable, I want to say. Untouchable. And that terrifies people who build their whole sense of security on being able to control you or diminish you. Let me tell you what's actually happening right now in the bigger picture. You made a choice. You chose yourself. You chose authenticity. You chose to stop compromising who you are just to keep peace with people who did not deserve your energy. And the moment you made the choice, everything had to respond to it. The whole system that was built around you being small, around you being the problem, around you being the one who needed to change, that whole system collapsed. You didn't have to lift a finger to make it happen. You didn't have to organize anything or plan some big campaign against them. You just kept being authentically, unapologetically yourself. And that was enough. That was more than enough. You systematically dismantled the entire dynamic without saying a single aggressive word. No burning bridges publicly, no vindictive statements, no drama. You just evolved past them so completely that their whole operation couldn't function without you as the target. Their whole system depended on you being small and harmless and passive. The moment you stopped playing that role, the entire thing fell apart. That's not a coincidence. That's cause and effect. Some of them are going to go through a period where they really struggle with this. They are going to try to understand what happened. They are going to make up stories about you being manipulative or dark or dangerous. That's their mind trying to rationalize why someone they thought was weak just dismantle their entire operation without even trying. But the truth is way simpler than that. Simpler. You just refuse to say small anymore. You refuse to apologize for taking up space. You refuse to dim your light so they could feel comfortable. You refused to shrink yourself to fit their narrative about who you are. And here is what I want you to understand about your own power right now. Your future. That's where the real power lives. That's where everything is heading. The group, the drama that's becoming a thing of the past. The chapter is closing. I know sometimes there might be this little voice inside you that says, maybe you should feel bad about what happened. Maybe you should feel bad. But let me be real with you for a second. You didn't do anything wrong. You didn't weaponize anything. You didn't manipulate anyone. You just became the fullest version of yourself. And that was uncomfortable, incompatible with them staying in power over you. That's actually a sign of spiritual maturity. That's a sign of someone who's waking up to their own value. The most important thing right now is that you don't let their panic disturb your peace. You have a much bigger mission ahead of you. This whole situation, this wasn't a waste of time. It was preparation. It was showing you that you can stand firm in who you are, even when people are actively organizing against you. It was building your capacity to move forward without needing everyone to understand or approve. It was showing you that you are way more powerful than you ever believed. It was clearing out energy that was never supposed to be taking up space in your life. Anyway. So here is what I want you to know as we wrap this up. You are exactly where you need to be. You are waking up, you are walking a path that's actually yours. And you are feeling this energy shifting in your life right now. If this is resonating so deeply that you can actually feel it in your body. If you're realizing that, this is exactly what's been happening behind the scenes, then I want you to feel it fully. Don't suppress it. Don't minimize it. Don't tell yourself you are being arrogant or proud or too confident. This is your moment to acknowledge your own power. This is your moment to step into what's actually true about who you are. One more thing that I need you to really understand. Your light was a mirror. That's what I mean when I say you didn't have to do anything. Your very existence, your refusal to participate in their lies, your commitment to truth, that acted as a mirror. It forced them to see their own darkness. They couldn't hide from it anymore. And the beautiful part, you didn't have to say a single word. You didn't have to point finger on or call them out or expose anything. Your presence did all the work. Your authenticity was the mirror. And they couldn't handle looking at what they saw reflected back. That's reflective accountability. That's divine justice operating through the simple act of you being yourself. You didn't destroy them. Your clarity just made their cracks visible. And now they have to deal with that, with what they see. The silence around the people who tried to bring you down, that's the natural order reasserting itself. That's the universe, that's life, that's reality saying we've got this handled. You just focus on what you came here to do. Your light is exactly what the world needs to see right now. Not a dimmed down version, not a compromised version that's been shaved down to make other people feel comfortable. The fullest, brightest, most authentic version of you. That's what's needed. Keep shining, keep standing, keep being unapologetically yourself. Because that's not just your power, that's your purpose. That's the reason you are here. When you are living in your actual purpose, when you're aligned with who you really are, nothing can really break you, nothing can really touch you in a way that matters. What you are building right now, the people who tried to bring you down are in shock. But you are walking into clarity. You're walking into freedom. You're walking into a version of you, of your life, where you don't have to convince anyone of your worth anymore. You don't have to prove yourself. You don't have to over-explain or justify or defend who you are. That's not something you need to earn. That's something you get to claim right now. The real victory isn't in the destruction of the group. The real victory isn't in them finally seeing what you saw. The real victory, the thing that actually matters, is that you finally fully believe it yourself. You finally know who you are. You finally trust that you're knowing. You finally moved from wondering if you are good enough to knowing without doubt that you are. That's the shift. That's the transformation. And nobody can take that away from you ever again. You made the right choice. You choose yourself. And then they made the mistake of underestimating what happens when someone finally chooses themselves.